So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now I'm about to call First Baptist Church of Jeffersontown in Louisville, Kentucky. And their About Me just says that they are a historic Black Baptist church that has been serving the community since 1829. So let's see if they're willing to help feed a starving baby, though.
Thank you for calling the First Baptist Church of Jeffersontown. Our senior pastor is the Reverend Brandel C. Morrow. We are located at 10600 Watterson Trail, Jeffersontown, Kentucky, 40299. Our office hours are Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you know your party's extension, please press it now. For the church office or to leave a message, press 0. Deacon Ministry, 2. Church Administrator, 3. Family Life Center, 4. Facilities Manager.
We'll just go with 0. See where that takes us.
Please hold while I try to connect you. Thank you for calling First Baptist Church of Jeffersontown. This is Victoria.
Hi, I was wanting to see if y'all could help with formula at all. I have a 2-month-old, and we ran out of formula yesterday, like around 7. And I've been trying to call everywhere, and they're just telling me to call churches.
We wouldn't, we wouldn't have it readily available, but it's for, your baby?
Yes. Yeah, she's 2 months old.
Okay. Okay, and, what's your phone number and your name, please?
859-353-7777. And then my name is Nikali.
You said, spell your name.
Nikale.
Oh, N as in Nancy?
Yes.
N-I-K?
A-L-I-E.
Your phone number, 859-353-7777?
Yes.
Okay. Nikali, what's your last name?
Monroe.
Let me see what I can do and give you a call back. Where do you live, or where in Jeffersontown? Do you reside in Jeffersontown?
Yeah, I'm like 10 minutes from you.
You're where?
I'm like 10 minutes away.
Okay, and what formula does your baby use?
Okay, so I'm actually doing a social experiment. I don't need formula, but this was just a test to see if you would be willing to help, and I've been calling other churches who don't help, and so just the fact that you're willing to help.
There's a woman on TikTok who's doing a social experiment where she is calling churches to ask about baby formula to see if any of them will actually help them out. And she called a mosque, and they actually would help them out, while none of the churches. And this doesn't surprise me as a pastor, and I talk a lot about Muslim zakat. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam, where Muslim communities and Muslims are obligated to provide charity to the community. Churches, they are not obligated. We hope that they're going to be able to be philanthropic and donate into their community. And my church has a food bank that I'm very proud of. But not every church has a discretionary fund. As a pastor, I have a discretionary fund. But also, there's a scam going on right now in churches. My assistant this week got a text saying, "Hi, this is Pastor Burke, Pastor Tom. Can you send me the directory of the church?" Because what scammers do is they go through the directory of churches, they go through online directories, and they email and they scam all members of churches, and they say, "Can you send me a Visa gift card? Can you send me this gift card?" That is something that happens. Churches get scammed all of the time. And so if you think the response to churches saying no to helping baby formula is to tax the churches, we spend $1 trillion a year on our military, on bombing other countries. We are right now bombing fishermen in the ocean. We spend less than 1% of our GDP, less than 1% of our budget on helping poor people, on food aid, on SNAP, on food assistance. So I don't understand why people want to tax the church when that tax money is just going to the military. Churches, the money that is donated to churches as a nonprofit or charity has already been taxed. And I understand that people want people on food assistance, people who need baby formula should get that help. But taxing the churches is not going to do that. All you're going to do is take money from churches and give it to the military and give it to the government, which is not helping poor people at all. Well, if you want to reform the tax code, that's fine. I'm all about it. But taxing churches would close small churches that actually do provide local philanthropic efforts to the community, and it would do nothing to the mega churches that you really want to actually get rid of. Churches like Joel Osteen, who doesn't do anything. These churches like Mark Driscoll. If you call those types of churches, of course they're not going to help. But if you call a small town church that well, they're going to try and do whatever they can to help you. So the answer is not taxing the churches, because then you're just taking money from churches.
It's a happy day the Lord has allowed us to see this wonderful day, right? And what he tells us is that be kind to people. If someone asks you of something, give them. Give them. Don't keep it to yourself. He also tells us that it is very hard for a rich man to enter heaven than it is for a needle to get through the eye of a needle, than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. Yeah, imagine a huge camel and the eye of a needle. Yeah, it's so hard, right? So hard. It tells us that people sometimes use people instead of using resources. Resources are meant to be used to help people. That is what I believe. I'm not saying that I myself am a perfect practitioner of this. No. I have failed many times, but I do try where I can. I always try where I can. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because there is a white pastor in America who had fallen to a social experiment. He failed as a church leader. He's a pastor by the name Thomas Bach. He failed since there is this black woman who called the church and said that her child was hungry and she needed food formula, you know, the thing which babies suck. So she needed that formula for the church to help her. Now, the pastor responded to this social experiment by saying that the church is not obligated to help the poor. See, that's not a very good statement coming from the mouth of a pastor, because the church is supposed to be a representation of Jesus Christ. Christians are followers of Jesus Christ. So the root word for Christian is Christ. So we have to be Christ-like. What would Jesus do? Is a question you should ask yourself in such a situation. Jesus helped, Jesus healed, Jesus was full of mercy, he was full of grace, he fed people. He fed once, many times, I believe he fed people. But there's this particular account where he fed 5,000 men and women, right? And I think it was women and men, women and children, or maybe men. But we know in any massive following, there's always a lot of women and children. So he fed, I probably think he fed more than 5,000. And there was abundance left, right? So that is the person of the Christ. You helping out of a good heart, not out of abundance. Because it is not abundance that makes you to give. It is the kindness of the heart that makes you to give. If someone wants to learn a job from you, teach them. Teach them. They necessarily do not have to pay you back, but teach them. And you go your way. God will remember you. So I don't want to cloud my own judgment into this. I want us to dive into this video. Listen to it. I shall get back by the end of the video. Of course, where we shall also have a deep critical analysis. And let's dive in.
2 predominantly black or African American Baptist church and 1 mosque. out of 25 to 30 churches in Kentucky. One creator on this app, I'm going to tag her below. 2 Baptist churches, predominantly African American or black, and 1 mosque are the only churches who, when she called and said, I have a starving newborn baby, can you help me with formula? Those are the only 3 out of about 30 churches that helped. This creator is literally playing in the background of her phone calls, screaming baby sounds. It sounds like a newborn is crying because it's very, very hungry. And these people from the church, tax-free, mind you, commanded by their religion to help, mind you, the whole reason they're there, mind you, have pretty much all said no. Except for 2 Baptist church and 1 mosque. So if you look like me, and every week you are giving your money to a church, they need to be audited by their congregation immediately. Ask them where the money's going, or stop giving it.
The woman who is calling churches and asking for baby formula is, in my opinion, the single best use case for social media that I've ever seen. It is a fantastic idea. How do I see whether a lot of these churches that say they're there for the community and to help the poor, if they put their money where their mouth is? And with the help of a camera and a phone, she has systematically gone and called up churches, and many of them have said, sorry, I know you are asking for baby formula and not money. I can hear a crying baby. I'm not going to help you, or I can't help you, or I'm not authorized to help you. And yet we've seen other community centers step up immediately and say, we will get that sorted for you. And it's a beautiful use case for technology. But what has been the next step is, I've seen now a spreadsheet. People have gone, these are all the churches that didn't help. Here are all the places that did. Here is how you can make a donation to those places. This is pure and beautiful and a really interesting mirror into something that has been made so much more easy to see through the lens of social media. And that is why whenever people, say, there's negatives to social media, I accept that. But there's also some beauty.
If somebody walked in the back door right now asking for a can of baby formula, how many of you would help?
I don't know what's better, this social experiment or the fact that it is now Sunday and we're getting updates from the churches who failed. Germantown Baptist Church said they would help with the hungry 2-month-old baby with a can of formula if she was a member of their church, because they only use their benevolence for their members. Well, this sweet lady, Sharon Sweet Home Blues, I'll tag her below, she went to church this morning at Germantown Baptist Church. And you will not believe the vibes, the energy, and the response of their pastor.
I'd like to have my own social experiment, if I could, for just a second. If somebody walked in the back door right now asking for a can of baby formula, how many of you would help? Just show by a raise of hands.
I don't see everyone's hands.
There's your social experiment.
Where's
That's
the hands?
who GBC is.
He said, there's your social experiment. That's who GBC is.
Leaving Germantown Baptist Church, I talked 20 minutes to the congregation, filling them in on what has transpired over the last few days. He said he probably should have addressed the issue earlier than emailing everybody last night. He talked about how benevolent they are and what the term benevolent means. He talked about how much they have donated to the community. 800 pounds of food, I think is what he mentioned just in the last couple of weeks. One thing he said is that woman is folly. I have to look it up. It's Proverbs. Woman is folly, seductive, and knowing nothing. He did manage to get in woke liberal, woke. I don't know if he said liberal, but he definitely mentioned woke. It seems to me that there are a lot of empty seats in that church. It's a big church. There are a lot of empty seats. There's a lot of empty parking spaces. It kind of says something about the church, don't you think?
Please let me remind you that this place has a spa, it has childcare, it has children's choirs, it has all different types of things that they claim for children from birth until 5th grade. You just have to go there. But their Google hours are closed on Saturday and Sunday. That's odd for a church. They're not open on Sundays. They have business hours Monday through Friday. So they deserve business taxes. So far, somehow, they got their Google reviews removed, and they have been scrubbed. So now they are back to a 4.5-star review. That place has evil vibes. The energy in there through a screen to feel that dark is scary. And let's all thank that sweet lady for going into that place. I don't believe that is her normal church. I believe she did just go there just to hear what they had to say. So let's thank her, go show her page some love, and let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Basically, Pastor Thomas Burke came on here and said that churches aren't obligated to help people that are in need. And the reason he's saying this because of the girl that's exposing churches for not helping people in their community. So this woman is calling churches, asking them for baby formula, telling these churches that her baby hasn't eaten in a day and a half. Now, there was a social experiment. But in this social experiment, she exposed that over 30 churches denied her when she called. It went viral. Then Pastor Thomas Burke used his platform to tell people what churches will do and what churches won't do. Simple fact is this: nobody is obligated to do anything that they do not want to do. But a church, you would think that a church will want to help somebody when there's a problem, due to the fact that people donate so much money to churches. And Pastor Thomas Burke gave all types of reasons. He said churches get scammed. He said some people just want to tax the churches. He said we spend $1 trillion a year on our military. Then he goes to say that the United States spends less than 1% on helping people that are in need. And although that may be true, what does that have to do with that lady calling a church and asking a church for baby formula to feed a baby? Truth of the matter is, people can't call the governor or the president. People can call the closest thing to them, and that probably would be a church. Now, not everybody is calling with the truth, but if somebody is calling with the truth, you're telling me that you won't help them? I've seen somebody mention the fact that a pastor wouldn't even open up the doors to his mega church to let somebody in when it was a hurricane. You got certain pastors driving around in Bentleys, driving around in Benzes, living in mansions. You got certain pastors condemning people for not giving enough money for their tithes or putting enough money in collection plates. What is this? Jump in the comments. Tell me what you think. I'm out.
This nut is calling churches asking for formula for her baby that she says is starving. And when the churches cannot provide her formula, she blasts them all over social media.
She called your church, didn't she? Just like she has called so many other churches, proving what we all know, that the churches and pastors like yourself don't really want to help anybody, just like we all saw with Pastor Thomas Burke.
There's a woman on TikTok who's doing a social experiment where she is calling churches to ask about baby formula to see if...
And it just confirms what we have already known, is that the churches never really want to help anybody. You are a tax-exempt institution. What do you think your saved taxes that you don't have to pay should be going for? And now all of you pastors are crashing out because the world is seeing you for exactly who you are. I mean, where does the money go from all the taxes you save each year? Oh yeah, into your pockets maybe? I remember going to church every Sunday and seeing that basket come around with the church expecting you to put money in it. I mean, where does some of that money go? I must have missed the part in the Bible where it said institutions that supposedly teach the teachings of Christ actually turn away hungry children.
So I looked up this pastor and I saw his reaction video, and honestly, I'm not surprised. The way that he is just making up excuses for reasons why churches say no to helping people, it's again, I'm not surprised. Well, people call churches as scammers all the time. People call us asking for money and blah, blah, blah. She's not asking for money. She's asking for one small can of baby formula. And if the church says that they don't physically have it, she's asking if there's a way for the church to get it, and then she can come pick it up. How is that a scam? And then him saying, my assistant just this week, which first of all, why does a pastor have an assistant? But him saying, my assistant just this week got 3 text messages or phone calls or whatever where somebody was asking for a gift card and blah, blah. Again, she's not asking for money. She's not asking for a gift card. She's asking for help to obtain one small can of formula. Now, I don't know how much a can of formula costs. I'm not a parent. I'm never going to be a parent, so I don't know how much formula costs. I'm on my way to the store anyway to pick up a prescription, so I'm going to look and see how much a can of formula is. But regardless of the price of it, you're telling me that a church that receives all these donations and tax exemptions can't afford to go buy 1 can of formula for one hungry baby? And this pastor just making up excuses as to why they're not helping a hungry baby shows why more and more people are leaving the church, because these churches are being exposed for not actually caring about people. Churches need to be taxed because they're nothing but businesses. So at the grocery store, I checked how much the cheapest can of formula was, and the cheapest one they had was like $22. So you're telling me that these churches that are getting donations and getting tax exemptions cannot afford to go get a $22 can of formula for a starving baby? Come on now.
Pastor Thomas Burke came on here and said that churches aren't obligated to help people that are in need. And the reason he's saying this because of the girl that's exposing churches for not helping people in their community. So this woman is calling churches, asking them for baby formula, telling these churches that her baby hasn't eaten in a day and a half. Now, there was a social experiment. But in this social experiment, she exposed that over 30 churches denied her when she called. It went viral. Then Pastor Thomas Burke used his platform to tell people what churches will do and what churches won't do. Simple fact is this: nobody is obligated to do anything that they do not want to do. But a church, you would think that a church will want to help somebody when there's a problem, due to the fact that people donate so much money to churches. And Pastor Thomas Burke gave all types of reasons. He said churches get scammed. He said some people just want to tax the churches. He said we spend $1 trillion a year on our military. Then he goes to say that the United States spends less than 1% on helping people that are in need. And although that may be true, what does that have to do with that lady calling a church and asking a church for baby formula to feed a baby? Truth of the matter is, people can't call the governor or the president. People can call the closest thing to them, and that probably would be a church. Now, not everybody is calling with the truth, but if somebody is calling with the truth, you're telling me that you won't help them? I've seen somebody mention the fact that a pastor wouldn't even open up the doors to his mega church to let somebody in when it was a hurricane. You got certain pastors driving around in Bentleys, driving around in Benzes, living in mansions. You got certain pastors condemning people for not giving enough money for their tithes or putting enough money in collection plates. What is this? Jump in the comments. Tell me what you think. I'm out.
Churches, they are not obligated. We hope that they're going to be able.
Okay. A, why are you wearing a bathrobe? Before I get comments from you-know-who about, why are you talking about him in his bathroom? Why are you wearing a bonnet? Why do you have a pimple on your forehead? I'm not the representative of an organization making a statement on the behalf of my community. I think that at least probably deserves a shirt. B, yes, they are obligated. It's because they don't pay taxes. They're tax exempt. They're tax exempt because it is their responsibility to help their community. And that community doesn't just mean their members. I don't know if you have watched Nikali, I believe her name is. She's calling churches to do kind of an audit to see if they would be willing to help a starving baby. She calls churches and is like, hey, my baby's really hungry. I don't have enough formula to feed her until I get paid. Is there any way that you can give me 1 can of formula? Like 27 churches said no. You know who didn't say no? I bet you can guess. Black and brown people. Muslims. So this man is coming on here saying, well, Muslims only gave her the formula because they're obligated to. It's a pillar of their religion. Isn't it a pillar of yours as well? So this creator that I'm not stitching, but I screen recorded the video because I could not find the original. So this creator that I screen recorded, Cassandra, she does this wonderful video going through the Bible and showing where God makes it quite clear that your responsibility is to help the poor, feed the needy, help the incarcerated. So I don't know what this bathrobe Billy Bob is talking about.
So I just watched a pastor's response to the video of the lady who is doing the Lord's work and calling around to all of these cosplaying Christian churches and exposing them for who they really are by basically performing a social experiment to see if they will feed a newborn. And this is a pastor who I would say probably is more along the lines of a progressive sort of pastor. But you know, the thing about performative progressivism is that people really do show who they really are when it comes to how they are going to be impacted by something. And essentially what he said was that the churches are responding the way in which they are responding because they get scammed all the time. Well, vulnerable people get scammed by churches all the time. Vulnerable people get used, their testimonies, their stories, all of that stuff gets used by churches to help promote their mission work and get tithes in. But you know what? You know who doesn't receive any sort of funding or pay for getting up there and talking about how they went through a journey of sobriety and all of those things and how the church helped them? You know who doesn't receive a dime of that money? That person who's standing up there in their own vulnerability, sharing their story. And they're the person that could probably use it the most. And then he says that the answer shouldn't be to tax churches, because churches, the tax dollars that they would contribute would then go to the military, and the military does war things. I mean, I about spit out my coffee because I'm sitting here listening to this guy and I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, yeah, no shit. But first of all, our tax dollars do not go to the military. What they go to is contractors. They go to contractors who, frankly, use and abuse the system to balloon up a DOD budget that is insane. But the same military, the folks that are in, that serve, live in rundown housing, all right? The bases are awful. Housing on bases is shit. I have friends whose children have lead poisoning because of the fact they live on military bases and how shitty military base housing is. So it doesn't go to the military. It goes to the contractors. So that's point one. Second of all, like, yeah, no shit, like nobody else, we don't want our tax dollars going to funding that shit either. That is another TikTok for another day, because I used to be a former Department of Defense federal contractor, and my work in that industry led me to have a total career shift and become a social worker. So the truth of the matter, the truth that, Pastor Daddy, that you don't want to hear is that churches have no problem taking money from the vulnerable, but when the vulnerable come calling, they close their doors. And the reason you don't want to hear that is because of something called moral injury. Because you think that you can wrap this in some weird little moral God complex and say, look at us, our church has a food pantry. No, 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 no. The real issue is, why are you all, as Christian leaders, not holding each other accountable? And just because you don't like how the truth sounds because you sound like the bad guy, it doesn't make it less true.
Pastor Thomas Burke, come to this message is only for you. I saw what you said on your post. Now you're private. He says churches get scammed all the time. But don't you walk by faith and not by sight? So let's just say you did get scammed by somebody. But what about the person who's calling the church for help, who's not trying to scam the church? I can't believe this man got on Beyonce's internet and said that the church is not obligated to take care of anybody. So my question, why do you guys need that tax exemption if you do not want to help people? Because again, like I said before, being tax exempt is a public benefit to provide charitable acts and social service. I can't believe it, but now you're private now. Why are you private? Why are you private now?
The pastor has come forward to address the social experiment where churches have been miserably failing to provide a community member with 1 can of baby formula for her hungry newborn. And I fear he did not help the cause. He could have done one of two things. He could have either addressed the churches that have said no, reminded them what the Bible says. He could have offered some action items of how they can, be involved with the community and provide for the community. He could have done many things addressing the churches. Or he could have addressed people, Christians, especially those who are feeling disappointed and anger. I've seen so many videos of people saying that's why they left the church. right? And a lot of people who attend these churches that said no are feeling really disappointed. He could have addressed these people. He should have offered words of comfort to all of these people who are sort of feeling religiously homeless, right? They're saying, I'm still Christian, I still follow the faith, but I don't go to church because I have been disappointed by churches time and time again. He should have spoken directly to these people and said, hey, what these churches are doing is not representative of the Christian faith. Here, let me read some Bible verses. Literally anything other than what he did, which is to come on here wearing a robe and doubling down and saying that churches are not required to help. And then he talked about churches being scammed. All very bizarre, Pastor. And then he went private, so he's not even allowing people the opportunity to continue this conversation. It's very cowardly.
There's a pastor on here named Thomas Burke who said that churches are not obligated to help people. Why are churches tax exempt again? Like, I just woke up, but why are churches tax exempt if churches are not obligated to help people?
Don't mind me. I'm just a pastor sitting here in my robe with my chest hair out. And I just wanted to comment on this social experiment about the woman calling the churches and mosques to see if they'll donate a can of baby formula. The church is not obligated to help you, okay? Do you have some sort of church Blockbuster membership card? Do you attend our weekly book clubs? No. So we are not obligated to help you, okay? Now, at my fundamental church of Jesus' Tailbone, we do not help people unless they help us. That's just how it works, you know, and this is a scam. People are scamming the churches for baby formula. They take the baby formula and they sell it for 10 times the price on the dark web. They got people asking for gift cards. This is what's happening. And you guys want to tax the churches? If you tax the churches, I will not be able to get my Rolls Royce. And that is not what's going to happen. So, you know, just log off and go with God. I also want to say thank you to our little keyboard warriors for Christ who continue in their religious psychosis and defend us in the comments. Thank you.
Church. It was a mosque. And this is what happened. Interesting that the scary Muslim people immediately asked, where are you? What do you need? Literally, Nikaylee is doing the Lord's work. Because at the very least, I'm hoping that these Christian churches that she's putting on blast, I hope that the people who go to these churches see her TikToks and are like, what the fuck? And then maybe they'll actually help the community. But yeah, great job, Nikaylee.
Sunday Mass just happened, and a lot of pastors are responding to the social experiment of the young woman who was calling churches, local churches, and asking if they would help feed her starving baby. In a second, I'm going to show you a clip, and you're going to want to watch this because we are watching Darvo happen right before our very eyes. If you don't know what Darvo is, let me explain. Darvo is first D, deny. I didn't do that. I didn't do anything wrong. 2, attack. I have seen multiple pastors call this woman a witch or say she has a spirit of the witch or a spirit of the devil. Number 3, reverse victim and offender. This is when they flip the script, right? That somehow the person that's trying to hold you accountable and show you the error of your ways, they're responsible. They're the ones who did something wrong. And now the person who did wrong is the victim. Let me give you an example real quick.
I'd like to have my own social experiment, if I could, for just a second. If somebody walked in the back door right now asking for a can of baby formula, how many of you would help?
This is denial. We didn't deny anybody anything, even though he actually did.
The video that has celebrated what is believed to be unrighteous behavior on our part is itself an unrighteous, fake attempt to set a trap for us and derail the ministry of GBC and steal our joy and steal our confidence as the people of God.
So here we have a 1-2 punch, right? We attack that person because they are the one that is being horrible and setting them up for failure, and somehow now they are the victim because they are the ones that denied food to a baby, but somehow they are the victims. What should have happened? Those pastors should have come on the pulpit and say, you know what, we made a mistake. I appreciate this woman for showing us the error of our ways. And this is what we're going to do going forward, because we want to be the acts of Jesus on this earth. That's what we want. That's what we're striving for. So I apologize that we weren't that and that we failed you. We will do better moving forward. I don't know. Put in the comments what you think if you stayed this long.
The video is a perfect case study since it reveals the current status of humanity in this world. It really shows you that we really don't care much about our brothers and sisters, about other person's child. It's about me, myself, and I. It's all about that. So when it extends outside you, you find it hard. See? Now, think of a mosque. Think of where you have a mosque. In this mosque, they have Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, they have so many of these holidays that we Christians also have. Christians, we have Easter, Good Friday, Easter Monday. We have the Sabbath day. We have Christmas, which is the biggest. And you'll find that many churches will often close their doors. Yes, many will often close their doors to outsiders. Yeah? They'll often close their doors to outsiders, and they will only feed people from their own church, whom they know. And I'm telling you, oi. So sad. You're wasting your time. Because in the end, you can be going to church 365, 24/7, but still end up in the lake of fire. Because you just didn't follow one commandment. You know, love one another as you love yourself. And also love one another as I loved you, as God loved you. We don't have that. Our Muslim brothers and sisters are people who are very kind-hearted. They'll open their doors for you. They'll feed you. They'll give you food. They'll clothe you. But when it comes to Christians, it's always a very, very hard thing to do. It's so hard for us to do what's right, you know. But I'm not saying that we don't have good Christians. We have so many Christians who are good. We have them. We really have them, you know. One thing that settles with me again is when Jesus said that whatever you do to the least of these, you've done it for me. You know, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was sick, you didn't come to see me at the hospital. You know, I was jailed, you didn't come to see me in jail. You were far away, you know. My child was given birth to. Never saw you, bro. Never saw you, sister. You know. See, we might be doing things thinking that we are doing it to our fellow brothers and sisters. But we are doing it to someone who is invisible, you know. When God gives you, give back. When God gives you knowledge, share the knowledge. When God gives you good pockets, have the heart to share. Do not accumulate the wealth of this world. The wealth of this world are things that are going to pass. I'm telling you this, and I'm telling you for sure. I myself, I have had a near-death experience. There's a time I was very, very sick. So sick. If you see my lip, you can see it is like burnt. No, I wasn't born like this. I had a very strong allergic reaction. You know, I was diagnosed with a very rare condition. It's called Stephen Johnson's syndrome. I think it's a genetic thing whereby my body is reactive to certain elements of a drug. So there's a certain drug if I take, I might even die. I might even die. But I woke up from that bed. I am a testimony. I am a testimony that you can go sleeping when you are healthy, when you have everything. You wake up and you lose everything. You lose everything. That's why I'm telling you this. Do not love the world or anything in the world, you know. Whoever loves the world, the love for the Father, I will add also, and of the Father, is not in them, you know. For the lust of flesh, the lust of the eyes belong to this world. Whoever loves the Father lives forever. So it's better to live forever and not love this world. So you have to make a trade-off. The pastor did not consider this. This was just a social experiment. How many cases have we had that are not special experiments that such kind of pastors have done? I'm telling you, on the last day, it shall be a very pitiful day. I'm telling you, my good brothers and sisters. People whom you thought can't go to hell, you'll see them there. People whom you thought will go to hell, you'll see them in heaven. In the kingdom of God, the number one is number last. And the number last is number one. It is better to be disliked in this world than to be liked by the Most High. And most importantly, the heart of kindness. The heart of kindness is a key ingredient in the mechanism of love. And that love is the greatest commandment. And that greatest commandment is what a teacher of the law, a pastor is a teacher of the law, and he lacked that basic thing. How then does he teach his congregation? How then? How then does he talk to the congregation and convince them this and that? I don't know how he manages. I don't know how they understand. But men, you need to love one another. You know? You need to love one another. I'm saying that because I would also do the same for you, my brothers and sisters. If I have, believe me, I'll give. I'm not that kind of person as well who will put a lot to myself. While I look the other side, I see someone suffering. Or I might have a glimpse that they're suffering. No, I won't allow that. And that's my personality. With my personality, many people right now, even on YouTube, so many people, even on YouTube, exist because of the step I took. And if the situations were to be reversed, and for them to be in my position at that time, maybe I wouldn't be making this video because this channel will be non-existent. But because love is the greatest ingredient, and God commands us to love and share whatever you have, I did that, and God has blessed me. And I do not submit to the blessings. I submit to the man who gave them. Because anytime he might come for them, and I might become the foolish man who thought he had everything. I have life, you have life. As you watch this, you have life. Maybe you are a parent, I am a parent. All those are blessings. You can eat, you can live in a house, you can drive your car. All those are blessings. Use your blessings to bless others. Just use your blessings to bless others. Do not accrue them. Do not be like Nebuchadnezzar. God will make you eat this grass. Yeah. The most important thing is love. Just love one another. Love your brother and sister. Just love them, bro. Love them, sister. Just love them. Believe me, God has infinite amount of blessings. His granary never runs low, never. He'll open the gates of heaven. They'll pour maize, beans, sorghum, millet, cassava, milk, honey will flow to your door. Yes, but first you have to open yours. You need to show an example. Yeah. For the pastor, he was not a good example, and I hope that he repents and he finds the message of the Christ, the true Christ. Yeah. See you in the next one, good people. I hope this video has been educational to you. See you in the next one.